Representative Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses. I think it is clear that Beijing's objective is certain, and that is to coerce Taiwan into submission. One way or the other, may be with or without firing a shot. I wouldn't put anything past them, and I think we've got to be very careful there. I do think that to help accomplish this goal, China and the CCP employs, no doubt, we've talked about it today, a wide spectrum of non-military tools, economic retaliation against trading partners, coordinated propaganda and disinformation campaigns, diplomatic pressure, targeted coercion of multinational corporations, a lot of things that you guys have talked about today. When Taiwan refuses to conform to its demands, and it's really unfortunate, and we've got to take note of it. These actions, though, are not isolated incidents. They're part of what I believe is an intentional strategy designed to reshape the international environment, weaken democratic resilience, and normalize intimidation as their negotiating tactic. I want to come to you, Ms. Khan, first, because as we hold these hearings and pursue legislation in Congress, some of our constituents may be skeptical about whether China is really a threat and whether they are rivaling the power of the United States globally and in particular in the Indo-Pacific region. So can you weigh in on whether or not you have an opinion on whether or not China's non-military coercion strategy is working? Give some examples about where it is working, because I think it is working, unfortunately, in that region. And then can you provide some additional background to the committee on how this strategy has been evolving and how it's been refined by the CCP to be effective in Taiwan?
Well, for one thing, China has been able to switch the diplomatic recognitions of some countries away from Taiwan, which is formally called the Republic of China. And so today, Taiwan, which is the Republic of China, formally has 12 countries that recognize it diplomatically, and 3 of which are in the Pacific Islands, which we can have a lot of concern about in this theater. And so it's important for the United States to work with Taiwan, and for Taiwan to step up, frankly, along with Japan, other countries have, to put more investments in the Pacific Island countries. That's one area. The second area is concerning, the perception that, well, if you don't work with us, then, you're not going to have a partner and that there will be war. But that's a fallacy. It's a fallacy because of the coercion that you just mentioned. It's really part of a continuum of threats. There isn't a clear gap between, well, this is now, comforting peacetime, and then we might move into this wartime. No, it's one continuum of threats. So people in Taiwan need to understand that they're not in a comforting time of so-called peacetime right now. There is no such thing as a continuum of threats.
Yeah, and I think we need to look even beyond the Indo-Pacific region about the influence. You're talking about how some of the diplomatic views of Taiwan have shifted over the years because of the pressure. You can look in the Western Hemisphere, and over the past decade, a number of countries have flipped their position on Taiwan because of the Belt and Road Initiative and what pressure China is putting on even countries in the Western Hemisphere to take their diplomatic positions. One of the greatest strengths of the United States is our economic diversity and our ability to recover economically, even if certain industries are encountering difficulties. One of the reasons for this is because our country has resilience just because of the sheer size and the diversity in our economy. Taiwan doesn't have that size, and so they're a little bit more vulnerable, less resilient. I want to come back to you, Dr. Rapp Hooper, because you mentioned this earlier. And so you mentioned specifically ag and fish and construction, I think is what I heard you say. How can we specifically help Taiwan build resiliency economically in those areas and others?
As noted, the best way to help Taiwan build economic resilience is to help Taiwan identify ahead of time, ahead of any PRC coercion, alternative markets for its products. So we have seen instances in the past where the PRC puts a great deal of economic coercion both on Taiwan and on other partners. And the way that a partner generally withstands PRC pressure is to find alternative markets for its products. We can think about our ally Australia that put up with a great deal of PRC economic coercion over the course of years. And that diversification process process was what allowed it to come through. Because Taiwan is geographically smaller and is smaller as an economy, as you say, doing that work ahead of time, identifying potential markets for some of these products will be what can provide a little bit more resilience ahead of time. And I would note that in particular, we should be looking at European countries that have significantly stepped up their interest and stake in Taiwan issues in recent years as potential destinations.
Yeah, it's exactly what we need to be doing. It's a long-term project. It's not short-term. It takes dedicated policies to do that over a number of years, but we absolutely have to do that. What we also have to do is continue to stand with Taiwan, critical partner to us. This issue is not just about the Indo-Pacific region. It's not just about Taiwan. It's about the U.S. national security. It's about stability, security, prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and around the world. And it's about, are we going to be a force on this world stage for good, or are we going to allow somebody like the CCP to dominate? There is only one choice that is sufficient in my mind, and that is the United States has to be the big dog on the block to support our friends and allies like Taiwan around the world. Thank you. I yield back.